My name is Michael Linnard, and my wife, Tamara Martin Linnard here. We have a publishing company called Jendi Reiter.
Could you speak a little bit louder, please?
My name is Michael Linnard, yeah. My wife, Tamara Martin Linnard, better half. We have a publishing company called Jendi Reiter Publishing. It's in New London, Connecticut. And we have published many books. We've been in business now for almost 10 years. We publish full collections of poetry, not chapbooks, full collections. And we started our company to produce the highest quality paperback we could. Full poetry collections, sometimes that is 100, 150 poems. And I'm also somebody who loves books. So I love introductions, I love prefaces, I love all the stuff that's on the front and the back. I like the biogs, notes, even glossaries, which I've had in all my books. This book is by Jendi, and Jendi came to our attention not only because she runs a fabulous With Adam website, one of the best there is for poets. She entered one of our competitions. We have two competitions, and one is the International Poetry Competition, Poetry Prize. And she entered it, and she won it with a fantastic poem. And it's in our anthology, 2013. And I asked her if she had a manuscript that we could publish. And she said, yes, I do. Would you believe? And if I haven't, I will make one. And we tried very hard to publish it last year, remember? And Jendi was not totally happy with the selection, so she wanted to write some more. So we said this year we would do it. So we have been concentrating on working on it for the last 2 or 3 months. And this is the culmination. Regrettably, UPS and the weather have combined to mean that we don't actually have books. But in this folder is the book with all the poems. And if you want to buy the book, obviously later on, Monday I think we'll get some copies and we'll get them to you as soon as we can. I want to write something about Jendi, read something about Jendi. The normal practice is when you do a poetry book, you send it out and people review it and you get a few comments. I've not had a better set of reviews to any book that I've published. Never. I'll read just one, and you can read the others, and they're online as well. It's from Susan Kovich. Susan Kovich. She's a child's rights activist and educator, author of When We Remember They Call Us Liars. Yes, well. She writes, Jendi Reiter's astute observations of the complex nature of love reveal not only its beauty but also its damning consequences. From the child to the adult, the home to the wider world, this collection of affirming yet disturbing tight-knit poetry in various forms, kaleidoscopes vivid images framing the struggle to free oneself from parental and societal expectations from start to finish. These poems span the coming-of-age search for self-respect and love, the ideologies of marketing and religion, teacher censorship of children's literature, and political crimes against sexual minorities. So it's pretty impressive, this book. I'm sure there's few people who don't know who Jendi is, but for those who don't, Jendi is the author of poetry collections Barbie at 50, and I think there's examples of them there, and Swallows from Amsterdam Press, and A Talent for Sadness. Awards include 2010 Massachusetts Cultural Council Artist Grant for Poetry, and she won our Poetry Prize in 2013. The 2012 Betsy, is it Colquitt?
It's Colquitt.
Colquitt Award for Poetry. The 2011 James Knudsen Editor's Prize in Fiction. The 2011 OSA is it Enneagram?
I believe it's Enneagram. It's magazine spelled backwards. I've won a lot of stuff that no one can pronounce. So it's all there.
It's my worst nightmare.
That's all right. As long as you know my name, the rest of it will be a personal people.
She's done a lot of things. Okay. And
You're very kind.
we were also delighted to have some photographs, not just any photographs, some great photographs from a great photographer called Tony Pepe. Is Boston based. She's currently teaching at Oxford University, and after Jendi's poetry presentation, Tony is going to give a presentation of her photographs. So that I'm looking forward to. You can see the actual photographs in here, they're wonderful, and the front cover photograph, which is really remarkable. Okay, I don't think there's anything else. I'd like to welcome Jendi to the podium, please.
Why don't we leave this on the side table since I have my printouts and people can look at that. Well, thank you everybody so much for coming. If people can't hear me, just raise your hand in the background. I'll try and project some more. As Michael said, unfortunately the books did not make it here in time, but for anyone who wants to pre-order, I have a sign-up sheet, and you can give me a check or cash after the presentation is over, and just write down your address, and we'll make sure the books get to you. And also, while supplies last, if you pre-order my book today, you can also get a free copy of either one of my chapbooks if you don't already have it. And if you do have it, you can still get a free copy, and there's lots of food. So thank you very much, everyone, for being here. Thank you, Michael and Tony, for putting together this book. I'm really honored to be part of this great work of art that this book has become, and I really can't wait to hold it in my hands. I know it's going to be a beautiful thing. So I also want to thank the library for letting us use the space for free, so please support the Forbes Library. And a lot of these poems were written to support the Center for New Americans in their 30 Poems in November fundraiser. So I want to give a little plug for Center for New Americans, which does adult literacy programs and other ways for new immigrants to get education and function in America. So support 30 Poems in November. So, all right, now I'm going to read some poetry. Thank you very much, everybody, for being here. So, this first poem is dedicated to my son, Shane, the world's cutest toddler, who is hopefully napping right now. Lord of the storm. Here is the ocean I promised you, salting your forehead with my fingertips. Inconsolable joy, motherless, I mother. Brown foam sucks the sand from under my toes, digging a hollow shaped like my standing. 6 weeks, boy, swaddled blue as Cape waters, your cries scouring my heart. Down the driftwood stairs, down to the eroded coast, carrying you, the first trust in my arms. You came from a longer sea, a more constant sun. Neither of us belong to time, unhomed from the country of sleep. I thought waking for you would be no harder than my old midnight pattern of terrors. 3 a.m. in the mildewed sunroom, no one breathing but us and the dark waters. All the silences wore off at once, My ghosts became baby birds pleading not to starve. Today's ocean has hush enough to spread spangled to the pearly horizon. Each glinting wavelet, a day of my history, washing my hands as I lose it. Your shrimp pink fingers curl at my neck. You open stone blue eyes to summer's glare. You have no name for yourself, or mother, or drowning, or birth, so I will tell you. That solid shape rocking on the distant current could be a boat where a friend lies sleeping as bravely as we will sleep tonight. A man who knows where he comes from and where he is going. So I owe a lot to my husband Adam, who is the tech support man. And one of the things that Adam does that's so great is he comes up with really bizarre ideas for poems. And, just generally bizarre ideas, but especially for poems. And this poem had its genesis when we were driving home one long night from some horrible adoption-related event. And we were just so punchy. And we were listening to the Sinatra channel on Sirius XM radio, and he sang this song, "I Wish I Were in Love Again," and Adam's remark is the way this poem begins, and I just took it from there. So, I wish I were in love again. When Sinatra sings, "I wish I were in love again," I imagine love is the name of some violent town in Texas, where the one stoplight took a bullet long ago, dusting the dry street with ruby glass. Where the sheriff, big-bellied as Cupid, didn't see the evidence of the split rope, the double-smudged lipstick, the black snake cold gun under the belt. Sinatra's voice pours the golden whiskey of nostalgia to shimmer over the icy rocks, like the foothills outside Love, where nothing lives but tumbleweeds and chicken thieves. He misses the spat of cat and cur, the flying fern, the sparks that burned down Love's one church when the preacher's daughter fell asleep smoking. Lucky in Love is the man who didn't miss the train in or out of town. Love is a many-splendored thing, the mayor says, hoping to attract a branch of the Houston Bank, a brassworks factory, or even a circus to settle in love. Create jobs for the men and scarcer women who lie in saloon alleys all night, clutching souvenirs of love to their hearts. A postcard, a clump of red dirt. Who wouldn't want such a loyal workforce? Love is just around the corner if you've got a first-class horse. City trippers in the mood for the blackened eyes Sinatra sighs for take the spur line to Love en route to Laredo or Dallas. Fanning themselves with transfer tickets, the ladies breathe, "I've never been in love before," mistaking the crash of plates for an emphatic whorehouse piano. The general store hawks banjos with one string, plasters for the knees of old folks who fall in love too easily. And of course, bullets. If you break a hip in love, you know what happens. Despite the weather, Love's no place to retire. The all-you-can-eat buffet closes at 5. When the moon climbs the stairs again, like a drunk husband going upstairs, the city ladies take their seats in the second-class carriage, each with a purple bloom aching under her blouse or against her cheek. It won't fade for days. It's almost like being in love. So it kind of flows from that one, I guess. Depression is my happy place. That lake waits any time for me to slip under its threaded green hush. I don't need summer or parking to arrive where my hurtling family is already one less. Depression is easy to get to, even on holidays. The standards are lower than church or kindergarten. You can run with scissors there, but you probably won't bother. It's my tight light box where I turn back the sun to a pale hum. I don't need fattening pills or fermented dizzy bottles. I can spin it on my own, straw into lead, because a lead house never blows down or burns. Side effects of depression may include eating more or less than people in magazines, sleeping more or less by yourself, sudden loss of interest in what your mother thinks. It's my soft dust pillow under the box spring where Grandma Money refuses the banker's conjurations of brown fields into winking green numbers, racing round the globe like a tornado-spun house. It's my black screen I won't trade. There may be a cost-saving generic alternative to depression. Ask your doctor about marriage. Smiling often and wearing a good suit may cause people to leave you alone. Did you know that your natural skin tone adds a layer of protection at no extra charge? Some restrictions may apply. Depression is not recommended for unattractive women. So in the series of poems that I wrote this year to complete this manuscript, I got the notion to write a series of trigger warning poems. Trigger warnings, for those who aren't familiar with the term, is something that's often put on blog posts and other types of material on the internet so that people who are upset by, say, depictions of abuse or violence or something like that can be prepared and decide whether or not they want to view this content. It's kind of like a rating system. But what it got me thinking about, as someone who has many triggers, that the triggers that I have are often things that you wouldn't predict to put a warning on because they remind me of specific incidents in my life. I think that's probably true for a lot of people who have had traumatic experiences, that we may have specific memories that are weird for us, but that someone else who's been through it will totally understand. So this one is called Trigger Warning pour homme, which means for men if you're selling a cologne. Trigger warning pour homme. L'air du temps was the secret name of all perfume. Drained vial stoppered with paired doves, slowing the last wisps of scent's escape. Ingredients, labels, are just recipes read by a child without a mouth. They don't reanimate the days of scalloped handkerchiefs and gloves in a cedar drawer where my mother stashed untouchable rings. The de Givenchy lay in my underwear, hip flasks suffusing my cotton-strap, flat-chest tees with crushed Italian violets, musk of taxicabs and stilettos. My mother's one glamour photo, hair pinned high as she never wore it, ascended over my dresser, where the plastic girl on the box lid spun in place, like the dancer she would have been. Old Spice came in a sample mailer to our House of Ladies, a misdirected cowboy trailing the heavy sweetness of deep voices in close-packed rooms. I drifted on my paper doll men to make them smell like lovers at the age when my friends were starting to drink the soda breath of boys. Obsession was a scent for my eyes, only reaching me from billboards, black and white, its ceaseless two-note mating call. Estee Lauder's beautiful tried too hard to sell its charms, like the girl who wore emerald lame to the prom, where I wore a Puerto Rican wedding dress. Of the bottle, the flavor, nothing sticks, but the pinkness of the advertised woman and child, their flower crowns and tulle in the sun of the meadow of their embrace. My mother didn't wear it for long. Revlon Unforgettable crooned in city shades of Nat King Cole, brass and lipstick red, the skyscraper bottle. My wrists smelled like a midtown hotel suite I shared with another winning college girl for the fashion magazine breakfast. I smelled loud as a mole, as a phone, inky as Cindy Crawford's proud and perfect mole. My mother coughed when she met me at the airport. That summer, my 21st, she'd become allergic to all perfume. I have to read this one because, alas, the local store which we all loved, Faces, is no more. So this poem is my attempt to memorialize, which I didn't realize at the time, this store, which if you're not local, it was a very important downtown institution, quirky retail store. I wrote this poem a few years ago about it. So we miss you, Faces. You live on in poetry. Outside Faces. It's the happiest place on earth, says a girl entering Faces, the downtown shop that sells monkey masks and leggings in her slender size, and magnets with jokes about PMS and beer. Since that's the only line I catch as she and her boyfriend, or maybe just a friend, pass me exiting the glass double doors, I don't know if she means where she's going or where she's just left, or some other place, such as Disney World, or a Samoan village she's studying in her Smith College seminar. A room full of girls in wool scarves, softly debating how it would feel to live together under a palm frond roof, feeding mangoes to each other's babies, with no more term papers. At the Coca-Cola Museum, on our wedding anniversary, we watched a cartoon called The Happiness Factory. The upshot being that soda pop eases heartbreak for baby monsters who fall in love with dandelions. They didn't mention cocaine, an important component of happiness for Freud, who might have said the womb was the place the girl was talking about, whether or not she realized it. It's easier to misconstrue that oceanic feeling when you look good in a bikini. If she knew the happiest place on earth was a beach, a library cozy with mildew and steam heat, between velvet skirts, on the 50-cent carousel at the hospice shop, would it be smart to go there? Since by definition, no place later in all her years after 20 could compare. Maybe on a warm October Thursday night, happiness lay in the street where I exited. The snow melted and the power lines patched, and a few stores lit again for anyone with spare change enough for pizza or rubber boots and a postcard from the art mat. Now for something completely different. As I mentioned, we adopted our son. It was a long and arduous journey, and some of the folks in this room can attest, support us through that. And one of the more unpleasant aspects of that was going to a conference for infertility called Resolve, and it's just very depressing. I don't know, I just found it depressing. And the abbreviation for infertility online is IF. So this poem is called Goddess of IF, or Goddess of If. I give birth to little black holes, mating prescriptions and names with long endings, bleeding numbers. My breasts let down gasoline, old bones to burn down the away road in a kick of hydrocarbons sucked from the drill gash. My placenta is a garbage truck, highway side, a collapsed horse, redefining heat that undresses all immovables. My ovaries are dead radios, belt pocket weights that once whispered under pillows, scouting in the small hours. No one prays to me until she has worn out my apple sisters, my candle sisters, my sisters loose as the ocean. No one asks for me, but after failure of my moon sisters, my root and grass sisters, and stone maiden aunts, she could find herself in my burned lair. Because I swallow frozen pinheads, I lick sugar from the popped bellies of girls and iron from their men's spines and wipe their eyes with dollar bills. And I give birth to drunken children with as many names as the stars, their minds like needles and their eyes blue as medicine. And I breathe cold sleep on the glass of their 100-celled sisters, their arsenal sisters, uncarried, stockpiled, reduced, sisters by treaty most mine. How many more poems do you want to hear? All right, the next one's a little depressing, so I'm going to skip it. All right. I'm going to read 4 more poems which are more upbeat, I hope. All right. This is what I wrote this year during 30 Poems in November, after Adam and I have listened to a few chapters of Lies My Teacher Told Me on audiobook and long car trips. And Lies My Teacher Told Me will make you quite depressed about all the myths that we're told about American history and how racist it really was. So a little of that, I think, has crept into this poem. But I try to make it more positive. October Creed. On Halloween, there are no lies in the stores. Not yet the turkeys in buckled hats, thankfully hopping toward the national fork and knife. The feathered braves fading with silent footfalls into history's woods, erased from the cardboard pageants and football turf. Not yet the wax apple cheeks and cotton beard of the confessional franchise in every toy town, the daddy actor sneaking kisses and milk while children dream as they've been told. On Halloween, there is death on the calendar, at last, the old lady taking a front room chair, unsung timekeeper of every holiday choir. This is her one day to pull down the album and coo over her resemblance to the grandchildren, who learn too soon to be ashamed to wear a crone's face on any regular morning. On Halloween, there is no loneliness for motherless Frankenstein, no required bouquet on the pine lid of Dracula's single bed, his satisfied heart an empty chocolate box. No witches circle the airports, caught in snow delay, en route to a dutiful dinner with parents who kick them out when their skin turned green. On Halloween, there is nothing to salute. The flags of Faro and Transylvania contribute no colors to the explosions in the sky. No one hands a man a harp instead of a potato and asks for a sad joke song of the old country. The oldest country is still ahead, where twig fires snap and beckon to the bonfire's uniting dance. This is another strange story that I owe to Adam, who finds news of the weird on the internet, and this was the result. This true story, some of it is a true story. The title is a true story. Robot deer shot 1,000 times. Some buckshot-toting boys can't resist that hat rack head lofting into view in the sweep of the pickup's dusty headlights. A come-on, like the barmaids at the Blue Note, when she slaps your hand, but you know she means maybe by how her tail switches away. It's poaching to shoot from the road at night. One of those rules on the same page as don't drink with a married woman, or drive a locked van to Mexico, even if your brother asks. Maybe the barmaid can tell a pro tattoo from the tic-tac cross your celly carved with a pen filler. But you believe the buck is real, and that its brown eyes, glassy with trust, are the worn-down night's gift to you. Even when you shoot and shoot, but it won't fall, clicking its proud head slowly round, like the barmaid's heels when she glides her tray of foaming mugs over to the college boys. Then the stage roll up with their toy car lights, joking Bambi sure can't take a beating, and cuffed on the hood, you're forced into a close-up of the felted frame, pocked with pellets, and it looks like your brother's skin after the last radiation. Tomorrow, you'll be more of a fool at the Blue Note than you were today. Not because of the deer, but the white envelopes the cops found stuffed in your glove compartment with poems inked on them that some joker will shout out during a lull in the jukebox. And you'll think the barmaid, brown eyes soft, is listening. And this poem was inspired by a sermon by the minister of St. John's Episcopal Church, where I attend. And she happened to remark a couple of years ago that it was interesting that Valentine's Day and Ash Wednesday fell one day apart that year. So she was making some kind of connection between the two, and so did I. To roses you shall return. Oh, by the way, for those of you who are not familiar with the liturgical calendar, Ash Wednesday is the beginning of the season that we're in right now, which is Lent, which is a time of repentance and reflection, and it ends in Easter. All right. To roses you shall return. When I see petals on the pavement on the day after Ash Wednesday, may there be a pause in my hearing of tongues of torn-out girls. When crinkled crimson holds the kiss of boot heels, may I walk on no trail of barefoot flight. Let there be no broken lips or shadow of palms pierced in spring. Let me infer only the generous florist, scattering the currency of coupling on the stony path to his fragrance store. Remember that you are dust, and to dust you shall return. Kiss me. When you see ashes on my forehead on the day before Valentine's Day, will your torched ancestors still whisper of riders in spotless robes? Will the flooded firstborn mouths give up their bubble songs? When you see my face marked by the dirt cross I chose, will you only bend deeper to the slap of your imitation sacrifice? Will you stuff your crone's mouth with roots, as ordered by pig roast priests? Tell me the 7 wounds of roses. Let our arms become the burnt horizon. Let our foreheads be graves, where laughing girls paint their sisters' legs with mud. Almighty and everlasting God, you hate nothing you have made. Be mine. So, as I began, I'm going to end with a poem inspired by the world's cutest toddler. And he is now between the ages of 2 and 3, which is one reason this poem is called 2-3. And includes a quote from Beatrix Potter, which you'll recognize. 2-3. Son, it is time to begin breaking your awakeness into wedges of 5, 12, 60 rotations of pinned hands, to pace off the sermon, the cartoon, the billable hour. Why is it not spinning time? Why is the song over? You pound like CPR on your Teddy's voice chip till he squeaks again. That's right, a circle is round and has no corners. Of the alphabet, you took to O first, pointing it out on toothbrushes and tattoos. Son, it is time to position P and Q and fork and knife and light and dark washing in the baskets where we say they belong. Why is milk white? Why do shoes match? You want to choose and cry at both choices. Not that hat, not that tomato, not that story. Why is the bird lying on the ground? Why isn't it tomorrow? I read you the page about Pig Robinson's aunts. They lived prosperous, uneventful lives, and their end was bacon. Good night, Loon. Good night, soon. You whisper to sleep, counting the wallpaper stars with the only number words you know. 2, 3, 2, 3. Thank you. Thank you, friends of poetry. One of our audience members, Ana, has a quick announcement about another poetry event that is coming up, and then I'll turn the podium over to our wonderful artist, Tony. So would you like to give your announcement now?
Thank you.
Okay.
I'm Lucky, and I am the Special Programs Coordinator for Early Retirement. I would like to tell all of you who are poets about an opportunity that our members and our guests, and you are all going to be my guests, will be doing at Applewood at Amherst on Friday, the 17th of April. If you'd like to get information about it, just go to the 5CLR website and go under calendar. You'll get directions to Applewood, 2 to 4 o'clock, and their meeting room on their lower level. Now, to Jenny and to the writers who are here, I am looking for 6 more poets to read their work that day. And I would like to speak with you after this to see if you might be interested, and I will answer your questions and welcome you to be a part of our group. We will read for 2 hours, 9 people in the first hour and 9 people in the second hour. And we would love for you to be among those who would read your own work to pieces. Thank you, Jim.
Thank you. I'm just going to get the folder so I can introduce a little more about Tony's work, and then I'll turn it over to her. So